She thought the nightmare had ended at the wedding, but when he disappeared, the real horror began. Eziamaraa had expected disappointment. She had expected confusion. She had expected anger, maybe even betrayal. But she had never expected silence. The wedding had ended in a blur of confetti, music, and applause. Christopher and Saudi had driven off together in a car decorated with ribbons, their smiles wide, hands entwined. Eziamaraa had clutched Jewel and Star tightly, standing frozen as the vehicle disappeared down the village road, leaving her with nothing but a hollow ache in her chest.
"Where is it going?"
Jewel asked innocently, tugging at her mother's sleeve. Eziamaraa forced a smile, hiding the tremor in her hands.
"They're just going on a short trip, sweetheart. Nothing to worry about."
But her voice trembled. Even as she spoke, the first pangs of realization hit. He wasn't coming back anytime soon. That evening, the first calls were made.
"Christopher? Are you home? Are you okay?"
She asked, her voice gentle, trying to mask the anxiety that had begun to tighten in her throat. Ring, ring, ring. Voicemail. She tried again. Same result. Then she called his office. Nothing. His colleagues answered vaguely, "We haven't seen him, why are you asking?" Her heart sank further. By the second day, Eziamaraa's hope began to crumble. She texted, left WhatsApp messages, tried emails. She reached out to friends who knew the couple intimately, desperate for a clue. No one could explain. No one knew. And that was when the weight of reality hit her fully. He had left her. Alone. With the children. With the life she had built and trusted. And with the truth that she was no longer enough. She returned to her house, the familiar walls now feeling alien. Every corner whispered memories of the man she had loved, the home she had nurtured, the life she had believed was stable and safe. And now, everything felt empty, hollow, abandoned. Jewel clung to her, sensing the tension, while Star's questions pierced her heart.
"Mama, when will Daddy come back?"
Eziamaraa swallowed hard, her throat tight with a pain she could not articulate.
I don't know, darling. We'll see him soon."
But even as she spoke, she knew the truth. 2 weeks of silence passed. No calls. No messages. No explanations. Every ring of her phone or knock at the door set her heart racing, only to be met with disappointment. The world seemed to have abandoned her, leaving her in a surreal, isolated nightmare. She tried to maintain a semblance of normalcy. She cooked for the children, guided them through homework, and forced smiles at school pickups. Friends visited, but the pity in their eyes only made the wound feel deeper. The community whispered. Social media began buzzing with pictures of Christopher and Saudi, the honeymoon shots, the radiant smiles, the posts that flaunted a happiness Eziamaraa could no longer touch. She felt trapped in a loop of anguish, every image and every story a fresh dagger in her heart. The life she had supported, the business she had built, the home she had maintained, all of it had been for a man who had already moved on. 2 weeks stretched into days that felt like years. She tried to remind herself to breathe, to focus on the children, to hold on to the life she could still control. But the silence of Christopher's absence was deafening. Each unanswered call, each ignored message, was confirmation that she was living a reality she had never anticipated. And in that emptiness, desperation began to set in. She called friends late at night, wept into her pillow, paced the floors, and stared at her phone, willing it to ring. She could not eat properly, could not focus at work, could not sleep without nightmares of him smiling at another woman, smiling at her replacement. Eziamaraa had always been the perfect wife, supportive, loving, giving, patient. But now, she felt powerless, abandoned, and utterly betrayed. The man who had sworn loyalty, who had shown charm, care, and attention for years, was gone, taken by his own deception and the woman he had planned for so long. By the end of the second week, Eziamaraa was a portrait of despair, tired eyes, trembling hands, and a heart heavy with the truth she had yet to fully face. She had nothing left but questions, doubts, and the gnawing ache of a love she could not reclaim. He had left with his bride. And she was left with everything else, the heartbreak, the children, and the unbearable silence.
Morning light on the kitchen floor. I built this house from love and more. Framed your fears, hung up your past. Thought we were built to really last. I wore devotion like a crown. Held you up, I held you down. Skipped my needs to fit your plans. Signed my soul with trembling hands. Was I too